Hey everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. This week, I am going to conclude my series on the 13 harsh truths about success that nobody told you. Last week, I covered numbers 5 through 9. This week, I'm going to cover 10, 11, 12, and 13. So the 4 points today are money only solves money problems. There's no such thing as later. You never really figure it out, and you'll never feel successful unless you create your own definition of success. So let's kind of dive into this. Money and money problems. People sometimes climb the ladder thinking that if I only make more money, if I only uh, whatever that the status might be, that all my problems are going to go away. And the harsh truth is that money doesn't solve any of those challenges. You call them problems or challenges. I think challenges sounds less negative. It only solves the money issues, paying your rent, putting food on your table, paying your bills, maybe going on vacation, those types of things. But money doesn't solve relationship issues. It doesn't necessarily give somebody a sense of accomplishment, uh, like climbing a mountain or bungee jumping or skydiving or something that's on your bucket list, right? So we got to keep that in mind that as we succeed, as we climb the proverbial ladder, as we achieve goals, that money is a measurement of some of that success, but it doesn't necessarily define that success. So some things that we need to think about is we need to focus on building those great relationships with our partner. And if we have kids, with our kids, we need to maintain our vitality as we get older, stay healthy, and we need to find purpose and meaning in our life. And those are things, this is a little bit more preachy, but these are things that we need to keep in mind as, we continue to kind of climb that ladder and set our goals high. The next thing is, and everybody's probably heard this, there's no such thing as later. The reality is if we put things off, say, I'll spend more time with my kids later. I'll find time to focus on my health and work out later. Eventually I'll get to it. I'll change my diet and eat better later. Later is another word for never. And the fact is that we really have to find discipline around doing those things now. And again, creating habits. The creation of a habit takes on average at least 30 days of doing something consistently. And it can be longer depending on how often you're doing it. So keep that in mind. We have to create that habit. The next point, number 12, is that you never really figure it out. And if you ever feel like you've figured it all out, then the second lesson here is refer to lesson number 1. You've never really figured it out. The fact is that we're always learning. In some regards, people are always kind of stumbling along, making mistakes and learning. And if you're doing that, it means that you're growing at the same time. So I think the more important thing to focus on is instead of trying to feel like you have it all figured out, you understand every aspect of everything in your life. That's what I would call full enlightenment, which very few people in this world have. It's probably better to focus on remaining humble, remaining curious, continuing to be courageous and try new things, be willing to fail and learn from those failures. These are things that I think that we need to take with us. And finally, the last point, which will kind of wrap up this series, is that you never really feel successful unless you define success. For so many people, success is based on the achievement of a financial objective, status, a title. And oftentimes, these definitions of success are really a competitive thing where you're comparing yourself to somebody else. And the reality is you have to find your own definition of success. And that has to be about you, not you compared to other people, not necessarily how much money that you made. If you base it on those factors, then you're never really going to feel successful. And again, defining what that means for you, I think is really, really important. So, as we wrap this up, I want people to realize something is, again, as we keep the last point in mind, success is based on your definition of success, but we all set goals. We all have dreams. Hopefully, we have dreams, and there are things that we want to accomplish. The only thing standing between us and those goals is ourselves. Sure, there are challenges, there are obstacles, there are landmines and grenades that get thrown in. But the fact is that if we have a dream, if we have a goal, if we have objectives, we need to set a plan. We need to follow that plan. Discipline is critical. We have to have the courage to continue when it gets hard. And if we do those things, there's nothing to say that we won't succeed, that we won't achieve those goals, that we won't reach whatever level of greatness we want to reach. And some people, they may strive to be the president of the United States of America. Others, they just want to make a good living, have a family, love their kids, see their kids grow up successfully. So we all have to define what success looks like for us and then create that plan, follow that plan. And ultimately, hopefully you find happiness in that. But hopefully you found this series helpful, enlightening maybe. And we'll lead on to something new next week. We'll see you next Wednesday.